Hello everybody, it's Becca again, coming back with my updates after my 3-week appointment. I have definitely had some changes, have had some trials, some successes, a little bit of everything. So I just wanted to touch base and let you know how it's been going for me. So let's start off with how the last 3 weeks have been. Braces for me have not really been a problem. There's been minimal discomfort. I have wax, but I haven't really had to use it very much. Just a little bit on these teeth and these teeth, but hardly at all. My mouth seems to be adjusting to it well and not having a lot of problems. There's been, a little bit of discomfort occasionally, like some teeth feel more sensitive than others, and that kind of changes day by day, but overall, they've been fine. If anything, my gums were a little itchy, like these gums were a little bit itchy my second and third day having braces, but that's also how I kind of feel whenever I leave the dentist office after having just like a teeth cleaning. Just like my whole life, every time I get a teeth cleaning or any dental work, my gums just kind of respond that way. So it's kind of been my experience so far. I guess it's not the worst thing in the world to have itchy gums, but not pleasant either. But like I said, even that's been minimal, just a couple days. As far as cleaning, I was very anxious about it when I first got my braces, and I was spending a lot of time cleaning, and I still spend a good amount of time cleaning, but I've definitely gotten more comfortable with the day-to-day routine. And I even had to fly back to my home state, and so I had to get comfortable with cleaning out in public. And how do I do this when I'm in the middle of an airport? So I will say probably the best thing that I found was the interdental brush. I got some from my dentist office, and I'm going to have to go buy a whole bunch more because that was not one of the things I stocked up on before getting braces, but they definitely are helpful when I'm out and about because I love my water pick and I use that after every meal when I'm at home. But when I'm out and about, I do have a portable water pick, but I don't want to go into the airport bathroom and just be like spraying my teeth down in the middle of the room. So I can kind of more covertly just either sit in the corner and pick out stuff for my teeth or go in the bathroom and still kind of covertly just do it. But it's so much easier than getting out a water pick or fully brushing my teeth when it's, in the middle of a crowded area. So that's what I would suggest for that. But definitely water pick 100% when you're in your home or a hotel or something. Otherwise, I think that was about it. It was a little bit difficult, getting used to seeing a lot of people and eating in front of people and being like, this is just what I do now. But I don't know, you just kind of get over it and you just move on. Other people probably don't care as much as you do. That's what I found predominantly. Like, I would take a bite of things and be like, oh my God, everyone's looking at me. But nobody really was. So you just kind of get over that, you get used to it, and it just becomes part of your life. As far as the expander goes, pain was mild. Like I said, I think in my last video, I would occasionally have some pain right here or right here, but it really would only last like 30 seconds to a minute. Like, it was never that bad. So I didn't have any big problems with that. I never heard a pop, or I never felt a pop. I have read about that a lot, and I think I said in my first message that in my first video that I was in a couple Facebook groups for adult braces, and I have heard that some people, as their palate is expanding and that suture line at the top of their mouth is, separating, they'll feel a pop when it like kind of pulls apart. I never felt that. I never heard it. I can tell that there is some change in my teeth, and we'll get into that, but I never like felt a true pop. So I ended up turning a total of 23 times, 2 at the orthodontist office and then 21 times at home. And yeah, they were pretty much all fine. Like, I was still 100% able to do all of my turns on my own. I never had my husband do it. It's not been a problem. So let's see, I did have some concern that my teeth were flaring outwards as opposed to purely just expanding sideways. And there is a little bit of flaring. We'll talk about how my appointment went today, but anyway, just be aware that, especially as an adult, that's something that can happen because the palate expander is pushing your teeth. Theoretically, it should be pushing it sideways. but it can just push the teeth outwards. I guess we'll see as things happen, and I'll talk about again what happened today at the appointment, but so far it seems to be okay. It definitely is flaring out a little bit, and it's something that I'm watching, but there also is some growth, I guess laterally. So anyway, the other issue I started having with my palate expander was that there are a couple what I'm going to call arms to the palate expander. I'll show you in a picture. They started pointing. When I first got the palate expander, they rested right up against a couple of my teeth on both sides. And they were like next to the gum line. They didn't cause me any discomfort. Like I hardly even noticed they were there. But the more I expanded, the more it seemed like they were going downwards, to the point where they got past the line of my teeth, and I was always very concerned that I was going to bite them with my bottom teeth and cause some sort of damage to my bottom teeth. I did call my orthodontist office, but of course that was when I was out of state, so I was like, I can't really come in, I can't do anything about it, but like, is there anything I can do? And they told me that I could try to bend it back like into, you know, the position it started in. That was not happening. They did not move. I tried, my husband tried, like there was no budging, and so we ultimately were just like, let's stop messing with this, and I just loaded it up with wax every night before I went to bed. I felt like I could control where my teeth landed during the day, but when I was sleeping, sometimes I would wake up because I hit it with my tooth, and while it didn't really hurt, I think I was just very aware of it, and so I ended up just putting a ton of wax on it overnight every night. And then during the day, I was just more aware of it, and so it didn't really bother me. Also, when I went back to work, my first couple weeks, I didn't have to work with the palate expander. It was great. I got to just kind of deal with it on my own and figure it all out. But then I did finally have to go back to work, unfortunately. And it was a little difficult, for sure. I felt like it was difficult to talk as much as I have to talk. I work in healthcare and work for 12 hours. Do a lot of talking, a lot of educating on my shifts, and it was difficult to try to really enunciate and speak well, and I just felt like everybody could hear the way I was talking, and they probably could, but nobody really cared. It was kind of just something to laugh about with your coworkers from time to time, and yeah, I don't know. It is what it is, and you just kind of tell people like, I have this stuff in my mouth, and if you can't hear me, if you can't understand me, let me know. I will try again. But for the most part, you just kind of deal with it and you move on. So yeah, that's basically been how it's been going for me the past 3.5 weeks. So let's talk about the appointment that I had today. So I went to the orthodontist, and I knew that we were going to kind of assess how the palate expander was doing and kind of just see if it was truly expanding or not. The kind of backup plan that's been discussed is if it doesn't work, then I'll have to have a couple teeth removed, and I really don't want to. I know a lot of people do when they get their orthodontic plan. A lot of people have to get teeth pulled, but it's one of those, like, if you don't have to, let's not. So I'm still crossing my fingers that I won't have to. We didn't end up talking about that today, but when he looked at the expander and how my teeth were, he definitely said that there was some improvement, that there is a little bit of expansion, but also he did acknowledge that my teeth were flaring out a little bit. So it's kind of not 100%, like, it's not an A+, but it's not an F. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. So we are going to do 7 more turns. So I'll have 1 more week of turning every night. And then my next appointment isn't for 8 weeks. So I guess we'll see after those 8 weeks how everything looks. But yeah, so I was happy that it wasn't a total failure. I wish that it was like a complete success, but you know, one step at a time. So, and then as far as the braces went, we did change out the ligatures. So I'm no longer in the blue, which I didn't really care for the blue. Now I went to a lavender. I'll show you that. It kind of looks almost more pink, but I don't mind it. So we went to that, and then they did upsize my wire on my top teeth, which I wasn't really expecting that, but I guess it's kind of a good sign in a way, because that means my teeth are moving in a way that was enough to take the next step. My bottom teeth, though, we did not change the wire on that one. We just changed the ties, like the rubber bands, ligature wire or ligature ties. but that was really all we did for that one. When they did take off all the old ligature ties, one of my brackets popped off. So she said there was a lot of tension on that one. So they did have to replace that. So I don't know. I guess it's definitely a good thing that we didn't have to place that wire because it was still pulling a lot. But it didn't hurt when it popped off. I actually didn't even know until she told me. So anyway, but okay, so here is the change that has happened so far in my teeth from day 1 to day 24 from the front side. You can definitely see, I think, the biggest change in my crossbite, which is on the left side of the pictures. In day 1, my top teeth just sit on the inside of my bottom teeth, and on day 24, it's more resting directly on top of my bottom teeth. So there's definitely been a lot of movement. They have a little ways to go before they're sitting on the outside of the bottom teeth, but it still looks way better. So I think my palate expander has done a lot as far as that's concerned. There is also a lot less curvature in the top wire in the day 24 versus the day 1. So you can see how much it's already straightened out. My bottom teeth don't look as drastically different, but there are little subtle differences in that as well. All right, let's look at the differences you can see looking at the top of my mouth. The main one, obvious, is the palate expander that has changed. I did a total of 23 turns thus far, and so that is 1 turn shy of 6 millimeters. So we're really close to that. And that obviously just looks more widened. My palate itself, it's hard to tell, but you can see that my teeth have flared a little bit more outwards. The molars have flared. So that's just something that we're watching closely, but as of right now, it's okay. Also, the arm of the expander, like I was telling you earlier, if you look in the day 1 picture, it's riding right along the gum line, looks great. The day 25, way too far down, was sticking kind of in front of my teeth, and we ended up having to cut those off. So that's what I was talking about there. I've seen several different palate expanders, and they don't all have arms like that. They're all just shaped a little bit differently. So you may or may not even have this kind of a problem. Other things to notice is that I have a gap in between the front of my teeth. It's very small, but it didn't exist there before. That kind of a small gap exists between several of my teeth, and that's been a difference that I've noticed since getting the palate expander. And lastly, the only other thing that I've really noticed is that the arch wire looks a little bit straighter in the day 25 picture than it does in the day 1 picture. So those are the big changes looking from the top of my mouth. Okay, so here you can see the pieces of metal that we removed. If you look on the left picture and you can see just below those teeth that are a little bit blurry, you can see a metal rod hanging down beneath it. That's what was really making me nervous for my bottom teeth. I felt like I could hit that easily. I definitely did hit it lightly multiple times while that was hanging out there. So it was so nice when they got cut off today. And that's what you can see on the right side. A lot of that palate expander ended up getting removed with that arm. So it should still work perfectly fine. That was the only tooth that it was ever anchored to. But that's all that I have now. So definitely a big improvement. That's basically where we are now. My experience has been fine. And like I said, it's mind-boggling to me that I've waited 15 years to do this because I thought I would look ridiculous. I thought I would sound ridiculous. I thought my world would be over. And it's just not been that. It's not been that at all. So if you're considering going down this journey, I would definitely recommend it, and just know that it's probably not as bad as you're making it out to be in your head. It's not 100% easy. It's not a cakewalk, but it's doable. And you will start to notice everybody else out there in the world who has braces too, and you're like, look, we're in this together, guys. We're in this together. So please let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, any feedback for me. I'm definitely just getting started on this and, you know, learning a lot about braces, but also a lot about how to post videos to YouTube. So anyway, yeah, just let me know if you have any questions or anything I can answer for you guys in the next video. Leave a comment, leave a question, do whatever you want. But also let me know if there's some girls out there watching my videos, because yeah, YouTube's telling me that it's all men watching my videos, and I'm just like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. So anyway, all right, well, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful to you, and I will see you next time. Bye.